She wants to say hi to you.
Hey Manoj, how are you?
Hey, Mukund, I'm good. How are you? Hello, everyone.
How was your week?
The week was very turbulent in terms of how markets should have performed according to me and how markets actually performed. Because markets are markets, they just don't go as per your own whims and fancies. So it definitely gave me a big kick that, don't predict me. I am the boss, not you are. So
You always get
in
into
a
this.
nutshell, that was the reason I thought that it shouldn't be going up, but it did go up. The reason was again based on the technicals, and technical analysis is not a science; it is an art. So definitely, it performed something differently than what it should have. So I
You know,
took it.
I
That's right.
I think I mentioned it on Twitter as well, right? I consider since January I've been telling you guys, or I've been telling everybody, this is an absolute bull market. Buy any dip that you get.
I do
I've been
not deny it's a
consistent
bull
in
market, not,
January
but
saying
I was
this.
just hoping that the correction would go at least up to the 50. I mean, but it didn't go. So
Yeah. No, I've been buying every possible dip and investing, reinvesting, but it's been good. So let's quickly review what we talked about last week. We're going to change the format a little bit, guys. Last week we mentioned four stocks, all of my picks. Robinhood was one, SMCI Supermicro, which was the second one, Square was the third, and IWM, which is Russell 2000 ETF.
right.
Every one of them for the week has done positive. Of course, the week was a terrific week. So I'm not going to take credit for anything other than the fact that we are in a good market right now. Robinhood went up almost 15%, SMCI up almost 14%, Square up on almost 12.5%, 12%, and IWM, given that it's an ETF, went about 4%. Although it showed a little bit of weakness in the middle of the week, I think, and towards the end of the week, we started getting a little bit towards Friday. I think we started getting a little bit of weakness as well. But overall, we're still in a long-term run. Whether that long-term is months or weeks, we can't say. And I'm not going to go down the prediction route, but I definitely think we are in a stronger market, as I've been saying since January from a lot of people that I've been talking to. I've been saying since January this is a good week. But that's my summary. That's our summary from last week, Manoj, that we shared. We mentioned those four stocks, and all four have done well. So now I'm going to now turn it over to how did the SPY, how did the markets do actually overall this week? I thought we had a good week overall.
Yes, the week was good. Let me just enlarge my screen and help you understand. I'll start with the hourly chart first of all. So this is somewhere last week started, 10th of July. And I assume that, since everything was, we were already close to or maybe lower than 20 MA on the daily, I assume that it should actually reach to, because the curve was steeper. So I thought that it would actually go to at least 50 MA this time and then again start the rally again. But market had its own plans. It fooled me, to be honest, and I took it in my stride. I cut my shots and took a loss, and then I did not participate in this rally. And there is a reason why I did not participate. So what I am showing here is divergence in the. It's not just the MACD. It's even, in fact, if you look at RSI as well, there is RSI and MACD divergence on towards the negative side. Whereas, so there is a higher high being made. Neither RSI nor MACD is making a higher high. 15 minutes, hourly, and the daily.
So you're
So
saying
here is the
both
daily chart.
ACD and RSI are converging down?
Yes. So if you look at, so this is where it is. Give me 1 second. Why it's not moving? Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So this is what 15 June. Since 15 June, MACD and RSI have not made new highs, whereas markets are making a new highs every few days. These are the signs that we should be careful on the longs, and that is the reason why I did not participate in the long side. It's okay to miss out on certain parts of the rally, but it is not okay to get stuck on your longs when markets are giving you signal that it is not a healthy market to be long on. I mean, I'm talking about ES and QQQ. I mean, all the large cap index futures. I'm not talking about small caps here, because small cap is in a different field altogether. So this is
Yeah.
ES.
Let me ask you a couple of questions, right?
Yes.
Um, are you taking the MACD on 14 days or 10 days?
Here you go. So it is 11 days.
Sorry?
11 days.
Yeah,
Give me
10
one
to
second.
11. Okay, that's good. Now, when the RSI is in overbought, it's almost 70. Is it 70 right now?
Right now, it is, I
69.1.
think, around 60. Yep.
69.11, right? Almost 70. So we are entering into overbought territory.
I would not look at it this way. So what happens is right now here, so it was on June 20th when it was at 75. So this, sorry, MSI was 75 and RSI was 78. This was on June 15th. That doesn't mean that markets would actually should continue to sell off. What I'm talking about is negative divergence, wherein markets are making highs, but RSI and MACD are not making a new high. They are, of course, that they have been trending up, but not as much up as the markets are. So that is my signal of moving out of long. The first sign of overbought and momentum being very high is definitely not a sign to come out of your longs, because markets can remain irrational for longer than you can remain solvent. For example, on 15th of June, somebody thought that the RSI was at 75, 78. You should be coming out of your longs, or you should be shorting. Somebody would have shorted and maybe continued to be on short, and markets again made a new high, right? So it is definitely not a sign to continue to be short or maybe come out of your longs, because markets again made new high and then again made new high. But
This is the
every
daily.
new high, MACD and RSI did not make a new high.
This is a daily chart, correct?
This is a daily chart, yes.
So when it hit 78 on June 15th,
yes,
you should not have been short for more than the period when it went from 45.36 to
yeah.
40.
So when it again reverted to the mean 20 MA, maybe you should have covered your short if you were short.
Yeah, so it gave you signals.
Yes,
This
it gave
is
you
a
signal.
strong market, but it gave you enough signals to say, hey, we're reaching the 20-day MA. So you
Yes.
should try and look at it as a not a opportunity to just keep going down.
So for somebody who is a long-term investor, or maybe somebody who wants to stay in the market for a long time, maybe 3 months or 6 months, probably these divergences are the signs that he should be able to come out and wait for another opportunity when markets give you a better signal. So my insight says, my analysis and my experience says that 20 MA would be broken in the next few days or weeks. I'm not sure whether it's breaking next week or next to next week, because my prediction went wrong, and that's what market keeps telling me. Don't go up based on the prediction, just follow what the signals are saying.
Yeah.
So it would, when I have no clue. Let me go to 15-minute chart and tell you that there are signs that it may not happen this week. So again, apart from the MACD divergence, if you see, there is a bull flag happening on the 15-minute chart already. So apart from I would say this bull flag will again be rallied up. We'll probably make another new high on Monday or Tuesday, and after that we would see whether it wants to go down further or not. As of now, it does look like a bull flag on 15-minute chart, and on the hourly, there is a rising wedge. This rising wedge is still not stiffening, so I would not say it is breaking down as of now. So this is yes.
What about QQQ?
There you go. I'll start with the daily chart again. Similar story, again making new highs. QQQ or NQ is making new highs, but MACD and RSI are not making new highs. At the same time, this is almost upper end of the channel. So this is a little scenario. I would not be long here. If I don't want to short, that's okay, but I would definitely not be long. I might miss out 1 or 2%. And you look at this chart, this particular candle. At the high, if you are seeing inverse hammer, that's definitely not a healthy sign. Almost at the high on a daily basis, not a good sign.
That's one portion of it also, Manoj. Another portion of it that I also looked through, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've looked at about 21 quarters of last 21 quarters of data. So it's not more than that. I don't have data for more than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's close to about 6 years plus or minus. Right. Every time, 85% of the time, every time almost, when banks, which are the forebearers of earnings. So this week we had JP Morgan, we had Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Blackstone, they all reported earnings. When banks report earnings that are strong, and this week all of them reported strong earnings, 85% of the time the market goes up because earnings have continued to go up. So they are a forebearer of earnings for all that. And the times that it didn't go up was during last year's 2022 downturn.
That's nice. And this time earnings have been up, you are saying?
Killer earnings, right? Every one of these guys says, within reason, of course, some of them have been better earnings. I mean, JP Morgan had very, very good earnings. Citibank was good. Bank of America and the rest of them coming up, but Wells Fargo was decent as well. Every one of them beat earnings, by the way.
And this is quite contrast to what markets were expecting, because markets said that banks were in a terrible scenario last quarter. Against that, markets have actually beaten earnings. That's completely contrast to what markets were expecting, to be honest.
So yeah, I don't know what to say. I know the signals are saying this might be a short-term dip type of a thing situation.
Short term, I have no idea what's happening in the long term, because that's not our intention to predict what's happening in the long term. But definitely short term, there are signs that wants to give some more breather.
Okay, now let's go to IWM, which is a completely different chart.
Absolutely.
Performance is ridiculous. It's sad.
Yeah.
Okay, it is what it is.
Okay, so this is last week. This was here when we closed.
Yeah.
I mean, ES and NQ still performed. I mean, 2-3%, but IWM or Russell 2000 outperformed them. The rally that we saw this week itself, 1, 2, 3, 4 big candles, 4 big green candles on small cap index is not a joke. It's definitely not a joke. The market is telling you that this rally has some more legs. Definitely there will be more ups and downs keep coming, but this rally is not stopping here. And it is sitting exactly at the breakout point. I mean, of course, it broke out and then again gave back some gains. I wouldn't say that it's a failed breakout yet, because failed breakout is where it goes up to maybe this point and then gives up all the gains. This is a sign that it wants to go up. Maybe again touches 20 MA and then zoop goes up. So some more give and take, and then there is some more
the 1880 range
left in the small caps stocks.
The 1880 range is the 20 MA right now, right?
20 MA is at what?
1893. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. That was terrific. Now let me give I gave a preview of the earnings summary. I'm going to go into quick earnings summary, if you will, right now. Let me bring up my earnings summary sheet so everybody can see a little bit more easily. And that will give you a chance to be able to see which ones are doing well, which stocks are we following, which earnings that we're following that actually are doing exceedingly well. Let me share that now. And here you go. So we were tracking, as I had mentioned, 7 earnings from this week. All the banks that reported this week: JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citibank, BlackRock, not a bank, but financial services, and then some of the non-banks: United Health Group, Delta Airlines, and PepsiCo. So let's go through first the banks. On an actual revenue basis, estimates of about 38 billion, JP Morgan said 42 billion.
Wow.
On an estimate of $4 per share, they went at 4.37, sorry. And they were up 3% after hours, giving up a little back today, but still doing very, very well. JP Morgan still did very, very well, right? Wells Fargo, also terrific earnings against an expectation of 20.1 billion. They did 20.5 billion and $1.25 a share. They were up after hours after the earnings and then gave back a little today. Citigroup was surprising. They had good earnings, but they lost 5% today, which was very, very surprising to me. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail to dig that up. But
is this just because of the revenue downtick, or
their revenue they beat revenue estimates. No, sorry, they actually were expecting 19.7. They got for 19.4. So they beat earnings estimate, not revenue estimate. That's why they were down. They went down after hours 1%, and then for the day they were down about 4%. BlackRock also went down, but they just managed to beat estimates on the revenue side by about $100 million or so, and then they soundly beat EPS actually, which is surprising to me. Today, the Dow was just carried up because of United Health, man.
Yeah,
Health went up 7% today on terrific earnings. They were expecting 91. They reported 92.5 and $6.4 a share. Optum Health delivering a lot of the value as well. And then Delta Airlines, they went down today, but remember, I've been talking about Delta Airlines. You and I have been talking about Delta Airlines for 2 weeks. From 42, 41, 42 that I saw all the way it took to 48, 49. I sold it I kept selling at 46, 47, 48. I completely got out just before earnings. I never hold after earnings or through earnings because I just don't want that lotto play.
That volatility, yeah.
It's giving up back some of its pre-earnings run because the market was anticipating good earnings. They had very good earnings, 15 billion and 2.8 cents, $2.68 a share was the estimates of 242, and very good guidance forward as well. So the Delta Airlines play was good. And then PepsiCo also very good, 22 billion when they were expecting 21.7, $2.09 a share versus 198. Went up about 1% and then gave back a little bit to end up about 3%, 0.36% for the day. So overall, very strong earnings. Usually this week, as I had mentioned to you, I'm waiting for next week's banks earnings. A big bunch of banks report earnings next week, right? And I've started to track that as well. We'll go through that next. But I think the key part that I'm seeing is every time you have very strong bank earnings, you tend to have a good earnings overall. So some of the things to follow next week, Bank of America is expected to report next week. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab are the ones that I'm following. Of course, the big three, Netflix, Tesla, and TSM, which is Taiwan Semiconductor. Surprisingly, Taiwan Semiconductor hasn't participated in the Larry so far, but for me, Netflix is a big watch. I bought quite a bit at 440s. I expect a good run up into the 500 range. I think for Netflix as well, and I have a long term position in Netflix, but the short term trading position I might actually exit. So the big earnings for next week: Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, early part of the week, and then later part of the week is Tesla, Netflix, Taiwan Semiconductor, of course ASML as well, which is a semiconductor stock. So that having said, let's just quickly go through some of my key picks, stocks to watch for next week. Netflix and Tesla, Neo, Roblox, and Unity are the ones. So let's go through them one by one, starting with any one of them that you think you want to start with. We have 5. Let me just mention those again. Netflix,
Let's
Tesla,
start with Unity.
Neo, Roblox, and Unity. Okay, we start with Unity. Unity is a gaming company.
Right. And here you go. I was long, of course, last time, and then after once I exited somewhere here, I have never entered it again. What looks like is, although momentum and RSI again showing that negative divergence as the stock is making a new high, I'm not bullish as of now, because as I said, whenever I see divergences, I don't hold the stock for long, because I do see that some kind of cool off or some kind of sell off is going to come. Given the kind of scenario and given that it is standing somewhere, so if you look at today's candle, it has given a bearish engulfing candle as well.
Yeah.
So this, I'm sorry.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Today's candle is very bearish.
Yeah, so bearish engulfing candle at the top end of the channel, and then negative divergences, all signs that maybe it has some more legs on the downside, and then maybe you can look at entering the stock again. Probably 20 MA, which is like 41, 50, 45. And maybe below that towards a lower end of the channel as well. And again, then rally, I don't know. But definitely 20 MA looks on the cards as of now.
That is Unity. Okay, What about Roblox?
Next is
Netflix. Sorry. Okay.
Let me go to Netflix. Okay. Okay. So this chart is a little typical, very typical for me, because although I've drawn this megaphone, but this is not a typical megaphone for me, to be honest, because at the bottom, this kind of megaphones normally do not, give us exact flows. Although I've still drawn it for the sake of, that's the only pattern that's visible on the chart. The only thing that is, not going in favor of bulls is the supply zone at 460. This is a weekly chart, and at 460 is the supply level for me. I would be a little cautious around that level. Unless it crosses past and sustains that level, I would be bullish, but before that, I will not. Another reason that I am not bullish on the stock is because normally I have seen that, whenever a stock hovers around 200 weeks or 200 days MA, it doesn't, just sustains there on the upper side or the lower side. It gives you some movement around the 200 days and 200 weeks MA. This is 200 weeks MA. So I would expect some kind of a give back and then again rally. So maybe somewhere around 400 of kind of a level in the next few weeks. This is a weekly chart and not a daily chart. So if you go to daily chart, there is nothing much apart from the steepness of the 20 MA, and continuously. So if you notice, RSI, MACD both making divergences, negative divergences, stock hardly making new highs, hardly. So earlier high was this, which is like 448, then 450, and then 456.
Very minor.
So these are the signs that stock is not able to hold the higher levels. So I would be cautious here. I would definitely not be bullish. And this candle is bearish engulfing again. So not a sign at the highs. I would say wait, maybe 50 MA this time, if definitely, if not 20 MA, because it's already at 20 MA. 441
remember,
is
next week
closer,
is
and 20 MA is 430, 435.
remember
So,
next week is earnings. So if the
yeah,
earnings go well, we'll just take off. The earnings don't go well, they're going to hit the 50 MA.
absolutely. So you definitely do not, gamble on the earnings. So I'm not going long with the stock into the earnings. Next is Tesla, the beast. I would never ever think of predicting or saying anything on the stock, because this beast has always dissed me. Having said that, what the chart says, I will speak. It is sitting exactly at the upper end of the channel. 20 MA curve is steeper. Our MACD, RSCD all showing negative divergences. Be very careful on your longs. Is all my sign. All my chart saying right now. So I'm definitely not holding the long. If I would holding long, I would definitely get out here.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. By the way, the bulls are expecting a run to 300, by the way.
Wow, already?
Yeah, the bulls for Tesla are expecting a run up to 300. I see so many messages coming to me saying Tesla 300, Tesla 300.
Okay, and so if you look at this particular zone,
The
supply
supply
zone,
zone at 310.
300 to 310. Yes, exactly. That's the level. So maybe that's where they want the stock to go. And the weekly candle is definitely a bullish candle as well. So even if I want to look at a daily candle, which tells me that there are negative divergences, weekly does tell me it has one more week or maybe 2 more weeks of gains. So
Okay.
yep,
All
bulls
right.
are not wrong, maybe. Okay, Neo. Give me one
I want to
second.
hear this. I really want to hear this.
I know you want to.
You know why?
Okay.
It's because it has been in a stuck pattern for so long. The only challenge is it's a China play, right? China stocks are so unpredictable, especially.
Absolutely. Okay. So two things, daily as well as weekly. As I said just about the previous chart, that whenever a stock is around 200 MA, the daily MA or the weekly MA, it doesn't just stop there. It hovers around for some days. I would say probably some more, give up. It will come down below 200 MA, somewhere around maybe 970, 980 kind of a level, that touch 20 MA and then rally again. But if you look at the weekly, what's happening? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Yeah, so sitting exactly under 50 MA on the weekly chart. Again, another sign that it might hover around these levels for 1 or 2 weeks and then try to break out. This channel or this bear flag which I have drawn, I'm really not sure if it is going to hold, because on the weekly, as I was talking about negative divergences, there is a positive divergence on this stock on the weekly, which is a very bullish sign.
Yeah.
So new lows on the stock, but not new lows on the RSI and the MACD, which is a very healthy sign for the stocks. This is the sign of bottoming out. So any dips on the stock for the long term is definitely a buy sign.
Opportunity. Yeah.
So any dip in terms of daily or in terms of weekly, go ahead and buy the stock for definitely next few weeks and not just for 2 days.
No, I like Neo a lot, but I've been DCAing into Neo.
That's nice. I don't DCA normally. Whenever I buy, I just buy and then hold. Okay. I know you have already seen inverse candle shoulders, and this is very, very bullish. Very bullish.
Yeah.
I don't
Roblox
even need to say
head and
what it is. It
shoulders,
is inverse
inverse head
candle
and
shoulders
shoulders.
and sitting exactly just under the neckline, 20 MA, 50 MA, all just underneath. So even if it gives up some gains, any dip is a buying opportunity on this stock. It's just about time it would just break out and rally. Probably first stock would be somewhere around 53, 54, and then all the way up to the supply zone of 70s.
That's awesome. I like
That's
Roblox a lot.
too high, to be honest. We should first aim for 53, 54 kind of level.
And by the way, they had very good earnings. If you look at the earnings candle, look at the earnings candle from May, where your red they are. Just look at the earnings candle from May. It was one heck of a candle, man.
Wow, it is. It's
They had
certainly.
a really strong day, and then they started to
And
move
they
up.
have earnings again on August 10th.
Yeah, they're coming up. Earnings are coming up in about a month, but yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
So we have the 5. I'll tell you my top to bottom in terms of which ones I'm the most bullish about. I'm extremely bullish about Netflix, Roblox, and Unity. Neo has some time to go. Tesla has some time to go for me. But those are the five. We will report to you next week how these guys have done, how they performed. Manoj, thank you very much again. This
Thank
was
you.
a terrific week. I actually was in Yellowstone as I was talking to you before for the week.
Yeah,
I saw some bears, but we saw a lot of bison. And then what else did we see? We saw a bunch of vegetables. We saw
I'm
vegetables.
just wondering, how did you come alive fighting the bears?
The interesting part is it seemed to me that there were a lot more people on cars and trucks and everything else in Yellowstone, and fewer people. And the reason is because there were trucks and cars from all over the world, all over the US, right?
Wow.
Usually you'll find it from local places, but it was not Idaho, Montana plates. These were plates from Illinois, Indianapolis, Nevada, California, Washington. So people seem to be
Summer
driving
season.
more than anything else. But
Yeah.
Yellowstone was good. Yellowstone was good, and it was a good vacation. I'm glad I'm back. And by the way, Major League Cricket has started in very close to where you are. So I'm watching it.
Right now, on my TV, my son is watching because, of course, he's a big cricket fan, so he's watching it very closely.
My son is actually in Dallas. He's actually covering the
Oh,
game.
oh, is he?
Yeah,
I'll
he's
be there
actually
on
covering
Monday.
Yeah,
I'll
he's
be there.
covering the game with video and audio. He's doing whatever he's doing.
Oh, is he recording YouTube or something?
Yeah. No, he manages a social media channel for Mumbai Indians and also the Mumbai Indians New York team. And so he's
That's
having fun.
nice. That's nice. I should follow the handles then.
All right, Manoj.
All right.
Next week.
Thank you, everyone.